Fox 46 News at 5 starts right now.
And right now at 5, Fox 46 first to show you this video showing a man stealing an ambulance and crashing it into several cars in a Charlotte parking lot.
Snow in April. The Fox 46 Neighborhood Stormwatch team is tracking the chance of snow across parts of the area.
One of the suspects accused of shooting and killing an innocent mother on a busy Charlotte street cried as he appeared before a judge in court this afternoon.
A $5,000 reward is being offered to find the person who murdered a 7-year-old boy at a birthday party in Charlotte 3 years ago.
Funeral plans announced for the USC student killed after getting in a car she thought was her Uber. Now riders are sounding the alarm on safety. Good afternoon. I'm Ann Wyatt Little.
I'm Lindsay Klein.
And I'm Diana Alvear. Let's start with meteorologist Tara Lane, who is tracking the chance for snow from the Fox 46 Neighborhood Stormwatch Center. Tara.
Yes, ladies, we've got the colder air that will still be in place for the second day of April. Of course, it's been a chilly start to April today. We bottomed out this morning, 36 degrees, 55 for this late afternoon high, pretty well below average for both of those numbers. So as temperatures tumble back into the low to mid 30s again by tomorrow morning, and then we get some moisture meeting up with that colder air from the south and southeast. Eventually, we'll see an area of low pressure developing and then moving up and along the Carolina coast. We will see the chance of a little bit of either rain, snow mix, or maybe at times come tomorrow morning, just pure snow. And that does include parts of the Charlotte metro. So on future radar, here we are waking up, maybe heading out the door if you're up and at it early enough, 7, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning. That's when we start to see that moisture continuing to increase from the south and southeast. And then you can see some blue and pink and purple showing up here. That does indicate some of that rain snow mix, or again, just pure snow for some of us. That will continue to move in from that direction as we go through the next several hours before ending a little bit later in the day. Now, meteorologist Brittany Hamilton, she's going to join me in just a few minutes, and she'll let you know how much we could see out of this particular system, and we'll have that in a few minutes. Now, you can stay updated here and track this weather coming in with the Fox 46 weather app. It's new, it's updated. If you don't have it yet, you can download it for free. Share your pictures, especially tomorrow morning. Let us know what you're seeing out there. Get video forecast updates. Check it out today. It is free. Ann Wyatt.
Thank you, Tara. We have heart-stopping moments as a man steals an ambulance and then slams it into 3 parked cars. The wild scene played out on Executive Center Drive in East Charlotte. Fox 46's Robin Kennedy was first to uncover the video of the crash. She joins us live from the parking lot where this all happened. Robin?
That's right, Ann Wyatt. Just incredible. Now take a look here. This is where the ambulance slammed into the light pole. Witnesses say no one was inside the cars, thankfully, when that ambulance rammed into them. Just incredible. And people inside this office building watched in disbelief. Take a look at this incredible video at the Charlotte East Office Park in East Charlotte. Police say a man stole an ambulance and rammed it into several cars, sending a light pole crashing down. He then gets out and runs away.
When I got here and I seen it, I was like, oh my God.
That's Marcia Crenshaw Hill's car on top of the pile, up on its side.
It was unbelievable, really, at first. I was just really happy that nobody was inside the car. So to me, everything calmed back down after that.
Medic tells us a patient and crew were in the back of the ambulance when the suspect first got in.
They immediately identified that somebody had opened the door. You know, they felt the vehicle shift a little bit when somebody got into it, which triggered them to realize, hey, we got to get out of the ambulance, something's not right.
The ambulance crew got the patient out just before the man drove off and crashed into the cars, according to Medic. Witnesses say CMPD had already been called because the man was banging on people's cars before he's accused of stealing the ambulance. Marcia is glad no one was hurt.
Because everything else can be replaced. You know what I'm saying? You can't replace somebody's life. I wouldn't want him to do it to somebody else. That's why I hope that he gets whatever help that he does need.
Now, Medic tells us they followed protocol and the ambulance was unlocked because they needed to get to the patient and needed to get equipment out to help that patient. They also tell us the suspect could be facing a felony charge for stealing an ambulance. I'm live in East Charlotte tonight. Robin Kennedy, Fox 46 Charlotte.
Thank you, Robin. New at 5. New video shows one of the men accused of killing an innocent mother in Charlotte cried in court today. It comes right after police released the 911 calls from the shootout on a busy Charlotte street.
Charlotte 911, do you need police, fire, or medic?
Yes, you need to get somebody over to North Tryon and 28. They just had a shootout over here, and somebody's over here screaming. You need to get somebody here now, fast.
Okay, listen, we have calls for service.
I'm at Bojangles, and you can hear the woman screaming.
Yes.
I'm not leaving.
Just tense and terrifying moments there. The innocent mother killed was identified as 27-year-old Kendall Crank. Fox 46 Charlotte's Brett Baldeck is live in Uptown after the 3 men accused of killing her appeared in court for the first time. Brett?
Yeah, Lindsay, it was a very brief court appearance for all 3 suspects today. There was also some emotion in the courtroom, but that didn't come from the victim's family, but instead it was from one of the suspects.
She's a good mother. That's my daughter. I ain't bragging, but she's a good mother.
A mother who now leaves behind a 3-year-old son and 8-year-old daughter. Kendall Crank's older brother will forever remember his baby sister.
I would say she was a flower, an angel, just pure love. That's all it shot out of her. It's hard, but she was the best, man.
She was a young mother trying to make the best for her 2 children, attending school in hopes of becoming a nurse.
You got to know Kendall. She's a special kid. Real smart, real bubbly, real bright.
Kendall's family says she was heading to school Thursday, driving through the intersection of North Tryon and 28th Street when she was gunned down as a group started firing shots through the intersection. Investigators say she was an innocent bystander. Kendall's family now wants to know why the 3 men arrested were shooting.
No regards of who's on the other side. It could have been your son, your daughter, your niece, your grandkid. It's just senseless.
The 3 suspects who appeared in court today will return back to court on April 10th, and they do remain in jail tonight. For now, reporting live in Uptown, Brett Baldeck, Fox 46 Charlotte.
A senseless killing. Thank you, Brett. New at 5, another senseless killing, and now a reward is on the table to put the person who murdered a Charlotte boy at his birthday party 3 years ago behind bars. North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper has announced the state is offering $5,000 for any information leading to an arrest and conviction. 7-year-old Kevin Rodas was killed in a drive-by shooting in 2015. If you have any information on the case, call Crime Stoppers at the number on your screen. New at 5, an emotional father speaks for the first time after his 10-year-old daughter is killed in a fight. All of this happening in the girls' classroom. Brian Blakely is in the newsroom with more.
Diana, this is absolutely heartbreaking. Jermaine Van Dyke and his attorneys say they cannot get any answers from the Colleton County South School District about his daughter's death. Van Dyke spoke publicly for the first time today outside of Forest Hills Elementary in Walterboro, where his daughter, 10-year-old Renaya Wright, was involved in a fatal fight inside the school last Monday. Renaya died 2 days later in a Charleston hospital. Van Dyke says he just wants answers.
And I'm here today looking for justice for my daughter, and I wanted just to find out what happened, how it happened, and who was involved.
It would be fair to say that the school was on notice that there were some altercations occurring on a very regular basis between individuals in this specific classroom.
Renaya will be laid to rest on Wednesday. Now, the other student involved in the fight has not been publicly identified, but the school says the student has been suspended. As of now, no charges have been filed. And what?
Thank you, Brian. 7 people rushed to the hospital after a bad crash in Northeast Charlotte. The crash happened this morning on Mount Holly Road and Winding Canyon Drive. Fox 46 is working to learn more about what happened, but people who live in the area say there is a very dangerous blind spot for people trying to make turns.
New details about the murder of University of South Carolina student Samantha Josephson. The coroner says she died from multiple sharp force injuries. She was last seen Friday night getting into a car she thought was an Uber. Investigators say the driver of the car then killed her and dumped her body 70 miles away. Fox 46's Morgan Francis has more on how the story is causing all rideshare users to up their awareness.
Whether you're coming home from a flight, going out with friends, or running errands, chances are you've used a ride-sharing service like Uber or Lyft.
Our hearts are broken.
This week, Columbia police revealed murdered USC student Samantha Josephson mistakenly got into a car she thought was her Uber. It was the last time she was seen alive.
I've seen some of my friends trying to avoid taking a ride if it's late.
We rode along with a driver while he picked up customers, asking what they do to make sure they're safe while hitching a ride.
So before I get into the Lyft, I always, look at the model of the car, and I'll, before I get in the car, I'll wait, for them to announce my name.
Helen Miller says she thinks women in particular need to be on guard when ordering a ride.
Women we're more prone to, danger than men. They see us as men weak, and they probably feel like we can't defend ourselves.
Uber declined to comment on the circumstances surrounding Josephson's case, but shared its list of rider safety tips, some being request your ride inside, get in the right car, and share your trip details with friends. Morgan Francis, Fox 46 Charlotte.
Duke Energy is being ordered to remove coal ash from 6 sites across North Carolina, including several in our area. The state's environmental agency announced the decision today, and it includes sites along the Catawba River in Gaston County, Lake Norman, and the Yadkin River in Rowan County. Duke Energy would rather cover some of the pits with a waterproof cap that would keep chemicals from leaking out. The order could add billions of dollars to power bills to pay for it.
Oh, baby, a Salisbury Fire Department is growing, but quicker than anyone could have imagined. Just how big will the family get? Details up next.
Then she's a woman who feels no pain. How researchers plan to use her rare condition to help others suffering.
It's been more of a wintry feel to kick off the new month of April, and come tomorrow morning, some of you could be seeing some wintry precipitation. What you'll be waking up to next.
Right now at 10, an airline not backing down after a North Carolina woman was arrested for complaining about vomit near her seat.
Arrested me because they have threw up on the plane.
What Frontier says its employees did right.
Then not safe. Why officials now say you may need another measles vaccine to protect yourself from the worst outbreak of the century.
And tragedy on the lake after a missing swimmer is found dead.
It's a very unfortunate afternoon. I didn't want to respond to anything like this, but we did our best as fast as possible to bring conclusion to the family.
It's 10 o'clock, and Fox 46 Charlotte is getting results.
A tragic ending to a desperate search for a young boy on Mountain Island Lake. Good evening, I'm Morgan Francis.
And I'm Brian Blakely. Crews recovered the body just hours ago. Here's what we know right now. A young boy was out on a pontoon boat on Mountain Island Lake inside the Latta Plantation Preserve. And according to authorities, the boy fell off the anchored boat and did not have a life vest on. It happened around 3, and Huntersville Fire Department responded within minutes. Fox 46's Derek Dellinger was the first reporter on the scene, and he is live outside the Latta Plantation tonight with the latest. Derek?
Yeah, they've closed the preserve for the night, but if you wanted to take a look at where this all happened, you would have to travel literally all the way down to the end of the preserve and to the lake. Many people, though, didn't really know what was going on until they actually saw the lights here and saw the tragedy that happened out on the lake this afternoon. Many people visiting Mountain Island Lake simply didn't know what was going on Sunday when emergency crews arrived. They were there for hours looking for some sign of a boy about 13 years old.
He did fall off and did not resurface. Was not wearing a life preserver.
Emergency crews tell Fox 46 the boy was out with his family on the water in a pontoon boat when it happened. He fell into about 9 feet of water. Crews arriving within minutes and starting a search. As much as the family was likely panicking for some sign of their boy, they were able to give rescue crews the information they needed because they were witnesses to what happened.
We do what we call a last known point. So we find out from eyewitnesses where the person was seen in the water. We were very fortunate because the boat that the missing person fell off of was anchored.
It wasn't long before the body of the boy was recovered. This isn't the first time this has happened out on Mountain Island Lake. A 19-year-old died last year while he was out swimming. Those who come here regularly say this is not a common occurrence.
People have actually tried to be safer.
It's something no one expects to see.
Very, very sad. Very sad it was a young person, too.
But something rescue crews have to be ready for.
We didn't want to respond to anything like this, but we did our best as fast as possible.
CMPD is looking into the boy's death right now, trying to figure out what exactly led to it. His name, by the way, has not yet been released. Live in Huntersville, Derek Dellinger, Fox 46 Charlotte.
And such a tragic story right after the boy's body was found. Huntersville officials made it clear everyone needs to wear a life vest.
And if you're on the water, have a personal flotation device. I don't care if you think you're an Olympic swimmer. You just don't know what could happen. Always have something so you can prepare to if you aren't able to save yourself.
Officials add that the moment there is an emergency, do not waste time. Call 911. Mere seconds and the extra help could mean life or death. Fox 46 will continue to follow this story and bring you any updates as soon as we get it, either on air or online at fox46charlotte.com.
Breaking right now, this is a live look from York Mounds Road, where one person has died after a shooting just hours ago. Still a very active scene out there. Investigators say 2 people were shot around 8:30 this evening. The other victim was taken to the hospital. No word on their condition tonight. Also breaking right now, a silver alert has been canceled after police say the missing Matthews teen has been found. Officials say they located Bianca Jasleen Gamble. No word on where she was found, but she is safe tonight. A big sigh of relief after officials feared she could have become a victim of human trafficking.
New details. CMPD has released the names of 2 victims killed in 2 shootings in Charlotte. Police say 21-year-old Shalisa Jones, or Williams that is, was shot in the neck in East Charlotte. Another man also shot, has non-life-threatening injuries. It happened on Snow Lane just before 2 p.m. this afternoon. Still no word on any arrest. And another victim identified in a shooting around the same time in the Lincoln Heights neighborhood. Officers say 40-year-old Damian Johnson was killed on Catherine Simmons Avenue around 1:30 today. Officers told Fox 46 they are now questioning a suspect. And because these shootings happen around the same time, Fox 46 is working to learn if they are connected. Keep it here for the very latest.
New tonight, neighbors in the Queen City are remembering the woman killed in the deadly synagogue shooting in California. Neighbors got together at Shabbat's new youth center on Monroe Road a few hours ago to honor 60-year-old Lori Kay. Kay was shot and killed by a gunman while trying to protect a rabbi. The local community joined in solidarity, inspiration, and prayer for Kay, the Jewish community of Poway, and San Diego.
People need to start doing positive actions. People need to start looking at their neighbors in a kind way. People need to be accepting and understand that each and every one of us is created in the image of God, and every human being brings a contribution to this universe.
3 other people were injured in the shooting. Police arrested a 19-year-old for the crime.
Tomorrow, Seattle's medical examiner's office will release the name of the victims killed when a massive crane crashed down in the middle of a busy street in downtown Seattle yesterday. 4 people were killed and another 4 were injured.
As Fox's Dan Springer explains, the city is rightfully still in shock.
Cleanup begins in downtown Seattle on Sunday following the collapse of a massive construction crane into a usually bustling street. Some residents say the crane was shaking as strong gusting winds moved across the area.
I knew that there's going to be a disaster.
The crane fell from the roof of a building onto several lanes of traffic on Saturday, crushing and trapping 6 cars underneath and killing 4 people. The Seattle Fire Department says 2 of the dead were crane operators and the others were in cars smashed by the crane. 4 others, including a 4-month-old, were taken to hospitals after sustaining non-life-threatening injuries.
My heart breaks for the families that have lost someone today and for the workers who lost fellow workers.
Firefighters responding to the scene evacuated the inside of the building and the impacted areas. Local authorities are working with state officials to determine the cause of the crane collapse.
We will make sure that this scene is locked down for as long as it takes to do a proper investigation.
Washington Governor Jay Inslee describing the incident as a terrible accident in a Twitter post, urging people to avoid the site, writing in part, quote, "Please stay clear of the scene and allow medical personnel and investigators to do their work."
That was Fox's Dan Springer reporting, and we now know that one of the people killed yesterday was a college student. And again, the names of all the victims will be released tomorrow. We have new details on the group of men trapped in a Virginia cave. Emergency crews were able to rescue all 5 men this evening. The men entered the Cyclops Cave yesterday with the intentions on camping there. And officials say they are all suffering from hypothermia and exhaustion. All 5 men were taken to hospitals nearby after being pulled from the cave. 1 had to be transported by air.
One of the biggest problems that we had was that they were exhausted and experiencing mild hypothermia. And as that exhaustion and the hypothermia progress, they're going to run into more and more problems with having the energy to move and get out of the cave on their own.
Heavy rain also made rescue operations more difficult.
Frontier Airlines isn't backing down after a North Carolina woman sued the airline after she was arrested for complaining about vomit near her seat.
Arrest me because they have threw up on the plane?
That happened on a flight from Las Vegas to North Carolina. The woman was traveling with her daughter, and she said she confronted a flight attendant about vomit near her seat, and she was told she needed to leave before being arrested shortly after. In a statement, Frontier says, quote, the flight attendants apologized and immediately invited the mother and her teenage daughter to move to either end of the plane so that the seat area could be cleaned.
Well, this week, thousands of North Carolina teachers will march to their state capitals for change, and South Carolina educators say they want to follow suit for better pay and a better environment for kids to learn. Those are the common themes for both.
In North Carolina, since last year's March on Raleigh, new legislation passed to raise teacher salaries from 37th nationally to 29th, according to the National Education Association. At this year's May 1 rally, teachers are armed with a new set of demands, hiring more school support personnel like social workers, counselors, nurses, and psychologists, expanding Medicaid, a $15 minimum wage for all workers in schools, and protecting retirement packages. For the second time in 4 months, South Carolina teachers will rally in Columbia. Teacher pay is the #1 issue, as the Palmetto State ranks 38th nationally with an average salary of about $50,000, according to the National Education Association. But it is near the bottom for starting teacher salary at $32,000 a year, a real deterrent for attracting top talent. Teachers have asked for a 10% across-the-board salary increase, but lawmakers are offering a 4% increase. Teachers are also calling for smaller class size, less testing, and a pledge from legislature that they will say no to for-profit charter schools and educational savings accounts.
And so far in South Carolina, only Chester County schools have canceled class for the Wednesday rally.
Fox 46 is covering local news in Union County. That's where deputies are working to bring a missing man back home safe tonight. Investigators say 60-year-old David Pecoraro was last seen on Twin Cedars Drive in Wesley Chapel. They believe he has dementia or some other cognitive impairment. Pecoraro may be wearing a baseball hat, red T-shirt with black sweatpants and black shoes. He drives a 1999 tan Toyota Camry. One person is dead after a head-on crash in Lancaster. It happened on Linwood Drive just south of the city. Authorities say a 2014 Chevy sedan drifted across the center line and collided head-on with a 2005 Nissan SUV. The driver of that SUV did not survive. Authorities haven't yet released that person's name.
A murder suspect is due in court tomorrow morning. Alexander County deputies arrested Antonio Castillo for a murder on March 24th. They say the 22-year-old killed someone in the Hiddenite community, and they found Castillo after an exhaustive manhunt.
Chicago's top prosecutor has been subpoenaed for how she handled the Jussie Smollett case. Sheila O'Brien, a retired judge, is pushing for a special prosecutor to investigate the handling of the case against Empire actor Jussie Smollett. She hit Cook County State Attorney Kim Foxx along with her top deputy with a subpoena to appear at a hearing. Foxx dropped the charges against Smollett, who was accused of faking a hate crime against himself.
Coming up, a measles warning. Why, if you're an adult, chances are you need another vaccination to protect yourself from the growing outbreak.
Then tradition strikes again in Plaza Midwood. How Open Street 704 is a preview to a bigger project in the works.
We have a jam-to-pack sports extra coming up later. We have our draft grades for the Panthers, plus a lot more than that.
Yeah, we got to talk some NASCARs. We head to Talladega to see who survived a big wreck and took the checkered flag. And we'll talk some Canes as well.
See you at 10:30.
Plus, all golf fanatics, that is, rejoice. But commuters, pack some patience. How the Wells Fargo Championship in South Charlotte this week may cause some problems for drivers.
Davidson Tendry investigated mold and other problems in Charlotte rental properties, making children sick.
Doctors believe her child grew sick because of what was growing inside the apartment.
And tenants fed up.
They didn't want to admit that there was mold there, that they were making my son sick.
I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Now government inspections are increasing, and a lawmaker is working on a bill to help regulate mold issues in housing. Have a story? Call, email, or reach out through social media. Fox 46 Charlotte, getting results.
on Fox 46 after the game. A blowtorch burglar strikes an Arby's. The plan he had cooked up that landed this crook in jail. Then, when legalizing marijuana takes a wrong turn.
People see it to be more benign, but I definitely think that it still has destructive qualities.
Impacts of the weed wave as more states say yes to the drug. And more heartbreak after this Charlotte house fire. The mother who clings to life dies just days after her children.
It's 10 o'clock, and Fox 46 Charlotte is getting results.
That mother died after an unattended candle caused a fire in this home on Academy Street. Her children, ages 2 and 8, died earlier this week. Fox 46 Charlotte's Janine Donaldson is live outside that home tonight. Janine, just a somber night in that neighborhood.
That's right, Morgan. But take a look at this memorial that's growing. Obviously, balloons, teddy bears, flowers, and a bucket full of letters. All of this here for this family that has lost so much over the course of this week. And this is all just under the caution tape that's still surrounding this house where obviously those children died, and this morning, their mother. The Mecklenburg County Medical Examiner confirms 31-year-old Ana Sanchez died early Saturday morning at CMC Maine, where she'd been fighting to survive after a fire ripped through her house on Academy Street Wednesday.
The house is on fire. There's a truck in the driveway. I mean, it's blazing. There's a baby in the house? Oh, my God. There's a baby in the house?
Sanchez's 8-year-old son and 2-year-old daughter were also killed in the fire. Her 3-month-old son was taken to the hospital in critical condition. We're told 2 families lived in the house. 10 people were inside when the fire broke out. 3 made it out safely, while 7 others were rushed to area hospitals, some in critical condition.
Salí corriendo sin nada, sin zapatos.
Firefighters say a candle left unattended sparked the fire. Leticia Mendez Dominguez lived in the house and made it out safely. She says there were working smoke alarms, but by the time it went off, the house was already filled with smoke. A GoFundMe page has been set up for the Guatemalan family to raise money to take those who have passed back to Guatemala. So far, they have raised nearly $4,000 toward their $20,000 goal. Several others were also rushed to the hospital. Right now, it's not clear if their conditions have improved. Live in East Charlotte, I'm Janine Donaldson for Fox 46 Charlotte.
It's a heartbreaking story, Janine. Thanks. According to fire officials, 2018 was one of the deadliest years for North Carolina fire deaths. There were more than 130 fatalities, which is 50 more than the previous year. Officials say in most of the cases, smoke alarms were not present. Right now at 10, family and friends are mourning the loss of a 22-year-old woman killed after she was hit twice while she was waiting for her car to be towed. It happened around 4 this morning on South Tryon Street. Police say Brianda Newman turned down an officer's offer to give her a ride. Moments later, she was hit by 2 cars. Police say the drivers weren't speeding and weren't drunk. Police do believe Newman may have been impaired. That was the second pedestrian death in Charlotte this year. On New Year's Day, Demetrius Gillespie was hit by 3 cars on North Tryon Street. The first driver who hit him fled the scene but since turned himself in. Police say Gillespie was wearing dark clothes and was not using the sidewalk. Well, our neighborhood storm watch team is tracking the above-average temperatures we've been feeling. Fox 46 meteorologist Amanda Cox joins me now with the good news. Amanda, tomorrow it's going to be even warmer?
It is. It's going to be a little bit warmer. That sunshine is going to remain in place, and we're going to see some very nice conditions once again. Clear skies overhead in York, South Carolina, 45 degrees right now. Nice calm winds. Overall, just a great evening across the area. Now, we expect to see the rest of the overnight hours and these temperatures starting to drop off. We're in the 30s, 40s, and even still a couple of 50s lingering out there. But with high pressure in control, not a whole lot's going to be changing over the next couple of days. So it'll be a cold start to the day tomorrow, but don't worry, those temperatures are coming back up. We're looking at 67 degrees in Charlotte tomorrow afternoon, 66 in Statesville, some 50s further off to the north and west, but no matter how you slice it, Sunday is going to be a beautiful day. Those 60s continue all the way through Tuesday, but there is the possible late week cool down, and I'll tell you why those temperatures will drop in just a few minutes.
All right, Amanda, thanks. Remember to stay ahead of weather in your neighborhood. All you have to do is download the Fox 46 weather app. It's free on Google Play and in the Apple App Store. Happening right now, lane closures on Interstate 277. Crews are working on the bridges over Elizabeth Avenue, 3rd Street, and 4th Street. Only one lane is open on the inner loop past the 10th Street and stretching to 3rd Street. The left lane of US 274 West near the interstate is also closed. Construction began today around 6 and will wrap up later this month. Hundreds of TSA workers are now calling out of work. It comes in response to the partial government shutdown that has delayed workers' paychecks. So far, it's affected at least 4 major airports, including Charlotte Douglas International Airport, which has seen a 10% increase in the number of people calling out sick. The workers calling out sick raises concerns about the safety of flying. Meanwhile, we are now entering week 3 of the government shutdown. And as Fox's Ellison Barber explains, a decision over border wall funding is still up in the air.
This week, the House passed a combined bill to reopen parts of the federal government through September 30th. 7 Republicans joined Democrats and voted in favor of that. The House also approved funding for DHS on an interim basis with no wall funding. The Senate is not even expected to take it up. The top 2 leaders from the right and the left in the House and the Senate spent roughly 2 hours at the White House Friday meeting with President Trump. Republicans described it as a productive meeting. Democrats described it as lengthy and at times contentious. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said Democratic leaders agreed to continue conversations with the White House, but she also said the border fight cannot be resolved until the government is open. Some Republicans, like Senator Lindsey Graham, are talking about trying to combine border security, a physical barrier at the border, with something that deals with immigrants currently protected under deferred action for childhood arrivals, the so-called Dreamers, and immigrants who have temporary protected status.
I'm probably a little bit more hawkish on this item than he is. But I can tell you this, he's made a number of overtures to his Democrat colleagues, and it's really a resounding wall on their part where they're just not responding.
At the same time, President Trump is saying he might go around everything and declare a national emergency in order to build the wall. The top Democrat on the House Armed Service Committee says not only is that a terrible idea and a reckless idea, but in his view, it is not legally justifiable.
In the case of a national emergency, the president can tap the Pentagon budget to meet that national emergency. But how you can describe what's going on our border right now, which is, other than the asylum seekers, our border is more secure with fewer people crossing illegally than have at any time in like the last 20 years. The courts should throw it out, should say this is not a national emergency, this is not legal.
Reporting in Washington, D.C., I'm Ellison Barber, Fox News.
An update to a story we brought you last night at 10. The rally to protect the Silent Sam statue is now canceled. The rally was supposed to happen next weekend in Winston-Salem. The city ordered to remove the monument after claiming it created a public nuisance. The United Daughters of Confederacy asked the organizers to cancel it so it doesn't interfere with their talks with the city. Now, the group planned to rally at the Silent Sam statue in Chapel Hill and then ride to Winston-Salem to fight the decision. You may remember the Silent Sam statue was toppled over back in August. Students wanted it removed from campus. The university plans to move it inside its History and Education Center. Senator Warren officially kicked off her 2020 presidential bid with a tour of Iowa, and it started with her taking some heat. As Fox's Jackie Heinrich explains, people didn't shy away from bringing up her ancestry.
Hello, Sioux City!
Senator Elizabeth Warren begins her likely presidential bid with a whirlwind tour of Iowa, a crucial state for any 2020 contender. The Massachusetts Democrat recently formed an exploratory committee, widely seen as an unofficial confirmation of a White House run. Saturday was day 2 of her 3-day tour of the Hawkeye state. Part of the focus, income inequality and the middle class, along with President Trump's 2017 tax cut.
Washington keeps working great for those with money, but not for anyone else. I just don't get why we would give away $1.5 trillion to giant corporations and billionaires. I just don't think we ought to do that.
It didn't take long for Warren's ancestry to come up. The senator took some heat last year when it was revealed she claimed Cherokee heritage on past job forms. President Trump and some Native American groups criticized the assertion, prompting her to release results from a DNA test. They showed she only has some Native American blood. Warren was asked about that issue Saturday and clarified she was not suggesting she's part of that minority.
I am not a person of color. I am not a citizen of a tribe. Tribal citizenship is very different from ancestry. Tribes and only tribes determine tribal citizenship, and I respect that difference.
After Sioux City, it was on to Des Moines. Senator Warren's Iowa trip comes more than 13 months before caucus goers will begin casting their ballots in that state. Jackie Heinrich, Fox News.
Still ahead, the infamous pig that caused chaos in Belmont is now on the road to safety. Remember this one? How rescuers managed to catch her today. Then no bun with this blowtorch, the mission one man had when he brought his weapon into an Arby's.
Interesting, weapon into an Arby's. Well, if you love dunks, you're going to love Sports Hornets' high-flying act in Denver, but was it enough to get a win? Plus, Zion Williamson for Duke, maybe his best dunk of the season. That's all coming up in just a bit.
Looking forward to that, Josh. I'm Morgan Francis. You're watching Fox 46 Charlotte News at 10, getting results in Concord, Noda, and the entire Charlotte area.